Hey everyone, and welcome. So today, we're going to dive into a question that I think a lot of us have wrestled with, deep down. It's about our purpose, our divine purpose, and really, where we fit into God's big plan.
Have you ever had that thought? A quiet little worry in the back of your mind? What if I'm not one of the chosen? You hear that phrase, and it's easy for this little seed of doubt to get planted. And hey, if you've ever felt that, you are definitely not the only one. And a lot of that feeling comes from these really powerful verses, like this one from Ephesians. It's a beautiful idea, right? To be chosen before the world even began. But for a lot of people, it can also be kind of troubling. It brings up all these big questions about predestination. Who's in and who's out? And that's where we hit this sort of paradox in our faith. If God preselects some people, how do you make that fit with what we know about his incredible, unconditional love for everyone? It feels like those two ideas are pulling in opposite directions. Because then you have this probably the most famous verse of all. John 3:16 doesn't say God so loved the chosen. It says he so loved the cosmos, the entire world. So how can both of these things be true at the same time? Is it a universal love or an exclusive selection?
Well, what if the answer we're looking for isn't in some deep philosophical debate? What if the key has been there all along, right in the source code, so to speak? By taking a closer look at the original Greek of the New Testament, we find a distinction that, it changes everything. Okay, this is where it all starts to click. The words we often lump together as called and chosen are actually two different Greek words, Kletos and Eklektos, and they don't mean the same thing at all. One is about a wide open invitation. The other is about a very specific selection for a purpose.
So let's look at the first one, Kletos. The root word is Kaleo, which literally just means to call or to invite. The best way to think about it is like a king throwing a huge wedding feast. The invitations go out everywhere, to everybody. It's a massive, open, welcoming call. But then you have Eklektos, and this is where the nuance is just so critical. It means to pick out or to select, but it carries this idea of selecting for a special purpose or a specific task. So get this. It's not about being picked for salvation. It's about being selected from among the saved for a mission. And you know who makes this perfectly clear? Jesus himself. In Matthew 22, he uses both words in the very same sentence. He says, many are Kletos, they're all invited to the feast, but few are Eklektos. They're selected from that crowd for a special role. Wow. The distinction couldn't be clearer. So what this really shows us is that this isn't a single event. It's a process, a journey. First, you have the calling. That's God's universal invitation to every single person. Then, for those who say yes to the invitation, there's a time of maturation where you grow in your faith. And finally, from that group, God makes a selection, choosing people for specific missions. Let's just put it as simply as we can. The universal calling, the Kletos, that's about salvation. The door is wide open for everyone. The specific choosing, the Eklektos, that's about your mission. It's about being set apart for a life of service after you've already walked through the door. So, what does this all actually mean for you personally? Well, first, it means you can let go of that fear about salvation because the invitation is for everyone. That anxiety of being unchosen can be totally replaced by an exciting pursuit of purpose. See, your spiritual growth, your journey, is what's preparing you to be selected for your unique mission. The whole focus shifts from a place of fear, am I saved, to a place of incredible purpose. How can I serve? This just reframes everything, doesn't it? The question was never, am I called? That invitation has gone out to everyone. The real question, the much more empowering question, is this. Now that you've been called, for what amazing mission are you maturing and growing and striving to be chosen?